Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. The Cleveland Browns are going to unveil their new uniforms tomorrow, or should I say they will unveil their old new uniforms that, according to reports, will look very much like the ones Jim Brown used to wear in the 50s and 60s. And that's okay with me. It's the one they wore when I first started going to their games at Municipal Stadium. It's the ones they wore when they earned that iconic franchise label that has been alive for most of the past 50 years, when they haven't been so iconic. Now I have a suggestion. Like a team that trades up and down in the draft instead of just taking what the NFL gives you, wear the white or the seal brown uniforms at all home or away games. Use the color rush once for the NFL-mandated Thursday night game. The Browns became an iconic franchise partially because you knew exactly who they were at first sight, whether it was Game 1 or Game 16. Don't get fancy with different combinations. Let's get used to the old new ones, then you go ahead and do whatever you want to do. We'll do that with Bud Shaw tonight. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into its 24th consecutive year, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Tonight is Tuesday. That must mean that Bud Shaw is here. That's exactly what it means. Bud Shaw is here. Hello, Bud.
Hey, Les. Great to be with you.
Good to have you here. You're in the depths of your cave, your man cave down there at the
I am
at the sprawling
yes.
at the sprawling confines of the Shaw Mansion. What do you
of
have?
West Park,
Of West
near
Park.
West Side. Yeah, West Park Mansion, I refer to it as.
When you moved to Cleveland back in the early 90s, did you say West Park is where I want to be for the next 30 years?
Yeah, that was exactly it. Yeah. No, I moved. I lived in Avon Lake for a few years, and I lived in Lakewood for about 4 years. So I kept moving closer to town. Most people go the other route.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be close to the airport and close to the stadiums and ball.
Anything nostalgically with you in any of the items you have in the complex? Anything we'd be interested in? Any memorabilia? We're losing him. I think we lost him. It wasn't that tough of a question. It shouldn't.
What was that?
There you go. Whatever I asked you wasn't that tough that you were knocked off the air.
What did you say? Yeah, I tried to back away from that one.
All right, anything of value? Well, I don't want to say that. Never mind. Forget I asked that question. Did you have a prized possession back there? You have your scorecard from when you played Augusta.
Yeah, I have my scorecard from when I played Augusta in 2004. It was the day after Mickelson won for the first time. That was when he jumped. You know, everybody made fun of his vertical jump on the 18th green after he made that putt. But I was lucky enough to get picked to play in out of a lottery to play the next day. And there were torrential rains the night before, and it was a question of whether we were even going to be allowed out on the course. And if we hadn't made it, we would have had to go back into a lottery again the next year with, you know, who knows what kind of odds of being picked. I was fortunate.
What year was that?
2004.
Okay, so you're going back 16 years or so. Can you, if you and I sat down over a diet soda, would you be able to tell me hole by hole what you did, shot by shot?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I used to go to these tournaments and sit there and listen to these guys go over their rounds all the time without even looking at a scorecard. And I was always like skeptical, like how can you do that and remember that well? But that your senses are, especially for me, right, getting to play that once in my lifetime,
right.
my senses were so heightened that I still remember just about every shot I made, and unfortunately some I would really like to forget.
Yeah. You have several that you really, really like and really still think about them?
Well, I birdied number 16, which is kind of I don't want to say iconic hole. Number 12 is the par 3 that everybody knows in Amen Corner, but 16 is where so many of these tournaments have been won and lost. It's where Tiger chipped in and the ball paused on the lip, showed the Nike logo, and then fell.
Right.
So you have to hit over water. It's a really beautiful hole. And fortunately, I had a caddy from Augusta, a young guy who had caddied there, 50 times. So he had watched me putt. He knew about how hard I hit the ball. And he gave me a great line, and I was able to roll one in there. So the other memory I have is that on 12, which is that par 3, I hit it onto the green, and that's when you walk over the bridge. So once I hit the green from the tee, he took I think I hit an 8-iron there. He took my 8-iron and handed me my putter and said, "Enjoy your walk with us, sir." So, you have a couple of things. They knew it was your only time out there, and they really played up to it.
That sort of had the same tone that you just said, have a good time up there, as you give when you say they're called quickies, sir.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell you what, Les, I've played Augusta. I've gone there probably 8 or 9 times to write about it, and I have never seen anyone hit the trick shots that you've hit on the golf course.
All right, we'll discuss that some other time. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Email us during the show. You see the address right there, which is real-leslevine@gmail.com. Getting close to my favorite time of the year. That's next week, the draft. And by the way, I will Dave Bacon and I will be hosting the draft coverage here because of my history of involvement in the draft, and especially
I could see why you'd be the choice.
Right. All right, so there is some football news. The NFL and the NFLPA, the Players Association, reached an agreement regarding the virtual OTAs. So a new segment in sports, the virtual OTAs. It'll begin April 20th for teams with new head coaches, and the 27th with the returning head coaches. It'll run through May 15th. No on-field work is allowed until all 32 team facilities are permitted to reopen. Teams are permitted to conduct classroom instruction, workouts, and non-football related education programs. This is uncharted territory, Bud, this whole thing. People say the Browns will have an advantage. No, they won't. No team will have an advantage.
But because Andrew Berry has a major in computer science or whatever, or a master's in computer science.
Yeah.
And
that Stefanski's buying into the analytical stuff.
Yeah, well, I was going to joke that it'll be at least May 5th before Bill Belichick figures out how to talk to somebody via Zoom. He's not a guy that he even jokes about it now to this day, that he really doesn't handle that kind of stuff very well. So maybe it will give some younger coaches an advantage, but I wouldn't think so. Every team's going to have an IT guy in there who knows what he's doing.
Have you seen the interview with Bill's son, Steve?
No.
He did. I think Steve is 32, 33 years old, and it's like you're looking at a reproduction of Bill Belichick in that whatever the interview was. Every mannerism exactly the same.
Yeah, what's really funny is that when I got to town in 1991, I had to come here that summer for an interview, and they asked me to do a tryout column, which, I've had it done. I've been asked to do that before. It was not that big of a deal, but it's a column that is never going to see the light of day in a newspaper. So what do you do? And Kevin Byrne at the time was the Browns PR guy, and he was gracious enough to say, just come out. I'll introduce you to Steve Belichick, and you can talk with him for your column, and he understands what this is all about. He couldn't have been a nicer guy, Steve Belichick, and he told me some tremendous anecdotal stories about his son. And when I wrote the column, the guy who was the sports editor at the Plain Dealer, who looked at it, said, "Oh, I've never seen this stuff before about Bill. I wish we could have run this, But he was so unlike Bill, his dad. His dad was just he was funny stories, great anecdotes, good punchlines. He was really a joy to talk to.
I want you to go back in time here and picture this scene. That the first day that a day or two before training camp opened in Bill's first year, which was 91. And there had been a tradition out there, this is before you got here, up until that time, where the media would play a softball game against the assistant coaches. Now, knowing Bill as you know him now, or over the years, Can you imagine? He came out
A
onto the
fan.
field. It was out at Lakeland, and he comes
Yeah.
out and he says, "What the heck is this?" And he's sitting. He's fuming. He's sitting in the bleachers, behind the bench, and he is totally fuming. And not knowing him at all at that time, just by the look on his face, I said, I don't need to bring my glove next year.
That was the last one, huh?
The last one. I don't know how it even lasted past the first half inning.
I should say that I really did also impress my bosses to be by driving to Lakewood for the training camp.
Instead of Lakeland?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, they didn't have GPS at that time.
It took them a few months, but they still hired me.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the past 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all around the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine, with new questions posted each and every day. You respond to them, we put them on the air. That's how the whole thing works. Bud Shaw with us. Dennis Maniloff tomorrow. Terry Pluto on Thursday. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
All right, birthdays for today. Pete Rose, born on this date in 1941. Education, college student, 1947. Greg Maddox. Adam Russell, whose father Bill calls us quite often from North Olmsted. We appreciate that. Adam had a nice career as a pitcher. Joe Hayden, born on this day in 1989. And Baker-Mayfield, celebrating a birthday. Bud, what are you going to get Baker for his birthday today?
I never even thought of that, Les. I mean, what do you get a guy who has everything?
Shots.
What do you get a guy who's made every commercial known to man?
That's funny. I said shots. All right, maybe it wasn't that funny. I don't know what you get the guy. He's got everything, but that could turn around if he doesn't have a good year this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident, I guess, that the guy we saw at the end of his rookie year is still in there somewhere. I just think the combination of coaching last year and the fact that he came into the season thinking it was going to be easy or easier,
right?
I really think spelled trouble for this franchise. I think the same thing applies organizationally, Les. I think Dorsey got a false sense of what Freddie Kitchens could do as a head coach by watching him call plays in those games. I think he put too much stock in the relationship that Kitchens had with Mayfield based on 5 games. And I think the players themselves thought that they were well on their way to being something that they weren't. So we'll see if they fumbled it all.
I might be the only guy who says, all right, he didn't have a great year last year, but not, just like you say, not enough to wipe him out for year number 3. I think that he showed some signs, and I think some of the mistakes, he didn't have his wide receivers weren't there to help him in OTAs. The team was never really together on the field, and it almost was an accident waiting to happen when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we could make one judgment on him, it would be that he's not a guy who's going to lift all boats like we thought he was at the end of his rookie year.
Right. Well,
What I mean, when he came to that game against the Jets and he performed the way he did, the whole team, in my mind, had a different energy level, took on a whole different sense of confidence. And then last year, he was part of the problem. It wasn't like, he was done in by everything that happened around him. He didn't have a very good year. He wasn't accurate. I thought he was too heavy when he came into the season. I think he has a lot of changes to make.
Well, if he's a guy who thrives on criticism and gets better because of it, that might be the perfect solution for what might happen.
Sure.
Here's what happened last year for Baker: 317 completions in 534 attempts, 59.4% completions, 27 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 21 interceptions. So that is not a good ratio. J.J. Zachariason from numberfire.com projects that Baker is going to have a bounce-back year because this is actually for people who play fantasy football. He's somebody they pay attention to. He's predicting, Zachariason, I don't know how you do this, but he's predicting it 327 yards passing or pass attempts. Let me start again. 527 pass attempts, 3,904 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. So there's improvement right there. But I don't know how you make up those numbers, but Zachariason did. It's a thriving business doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think those are reasonable numbers when you think about them. When you think about a team that's probably going to try to run the ball as much as this one's going to, with Chubb and Hunt in the backfield. So it's not like he's predicting a 40 touchdown, 6 interception season for the guy. I think those are within reach.
Yeah, those are enough numbers to play with. That's for sure. Coming up on Thursday night, a week from this Thursday, 9 days away, More Sports and Les-levine special edition. Cleveland.com. We'll have Dave Bacon joining me along with the Cleveland.com staff. We'll break down the draft. We'll start it at 8 o'clock. The draft actually begins at 8:15 with the first pick, but we'll start our programming at 8 o'clock. That's a week from Thursday night right here on Cleveland.com. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 locations, east, west, and south. The south, of course, being in Macedonia, or go to northeastfactorydirect.com for more information. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment with Bud Shaw. More Sports and Les-levine continues exclusively. We'll look at a mock draft of CBS sports writers right here on Cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
Got your Ohio Lottery pick 3, I see.
Yup. Those glasses are hip.
Hip? Most people think I'm a square. But what's wrong with that? A box bet can increase your chances of winning. And what is a box? A square. There are so many ways to play. There's coming out the wazoo. Oh, shucks. Look at me yammering on. Put a lid in it, Picky Ricky. Play the Ohio Lottery Pick 3 today.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. I think this fits, checks all the boxes in Bud Shaw's liking here as far as quickies are concerned. How come in baseball the bad hop is always the last one? Get a five bouncer and first 3 or 4 no problem. Then the 5th one hits.
What I like most about that one, Les, is that How Come Quickie was as quick as a bad hop.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw with us. CBS sports writers got together. They came up with a mock draft. Brady Quinn, former Browns quarterback, served as the mock GM for the Vikings. So let's take a look at what came down here. The Browns take mekhi-becton with the 10th pick in the draft. By the way, he'd be the perfect guy on 4th and 1 if you're going to run the ball. I would think he'd be tough to stop. The Vikings, under GM Brady Quinn, they trade their 22nd pick to the Browns to get Odell-Beckham-Jr. The Browns then select Patrick Queen with the 22nd pick. What do we know about Patrick Queen? Well, he had a pretty good championship game in college, and he had a great year. 85 tackles, 12 for losses, 3 sacks, 1 INT. In 2019, he was the defensive MVP of the 2020 National Championship game with 8 tackles, 2.5 for losses, and 1/2 of a sack in that game. He was pretty impressive in that. But as we get down to it, and you're allowed to change before this draft gets underway, do you have a thought how this is going to come down in the first 10 picks for the Browns?
No, I think it's hard to say because we don't know exactly which of those offensive linemen, which 1 or 2 of them that they really like a lot.
Right.
If they're not there, I could still see this team trading down a few spots less. I know people will go a little crazy if that happens because they'll flash back to the Sashi Brown, Andrew Berry years of just trying to amass as much capital as draft capital as possible. But I don't think they would go down to a point where they would miss out on a lineman that they like. So we'll just have to wait and see what they do, obviously. I wonder if Brady Quinn, is he working on any inside information there? That I haven't seen that scenario before.
I haven't seen that either. But he said, let's ask the question then. It's the 22nd pick. Do you think the Browns would be interested in getting rid of Odell Beckham that way? I look at it a little different because with the uniforms coming out tomorrow, and the word is that Odell Beckham Jr. is the one who modeled at least some of the uniforms, I don't think the PR department puts him out there if they know they're going to trade him.
Well, I mean, I'm look back at that year that they unveiled the uniforms the last time, and I think Dwayne Bowe was part of that unveiling. So I think
my theory.
I think what it is that they wouldn't want to anger Odell Beckham by not having him involved in the uniforms. And if he happens to if somebody blows him away on draft day and offers them something, I don't know whether that would be a big enough haul for them to do that. I would do it, actually. I feel like if you could get a first rounder for him right now, and it's a guy that you know that you can get on the board, I wouldn't do it ahead of time. I wouldn't do it like the day before the draft. But I certainly, if I felt there was a guy that I really coveted there, and that's what it took to move up, I wouldn't be against doing it, Les. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion because the guy is so talented.
Well, my opinion is you're very weak at linebacker right now, and if you trade Beckham Jr., then you make yourself very weak at the wide receiver spot. So you got 1 unit on offense, 1 on defense, and since right now I believe as constituted now, I believe the offense is stronger than the defense, and so I mean you'd like to be good on both, or you'd like to be really good at one and sort of good on the other.
No, you're right. Right. More than not in the modern NFL, that's how it works. So teams have enough money to be great on one side of the ball, and then they try to do as well as they can on the other side. So you make a good point. This offense does have a chance to be very good with him. I just, I keep looking at him and wondering whether he's going to hold up through a whole season, and whether he's going to be, I hate to see Baker Mayfield go into another season where he feels like he has to force him the ball. Yeah. Now, maybe there'll be a different dynamic this year. And maybe Odell Beckham is a better teammate than we all think he is, and he won't have a problem with the ball being spread around. But certainly with those two guys in the backfield and with Austin Hooper at tight end, I don't know that this looks like, and with Landry on the team, I don't know that this looks like a 100-catch season for Odell Beckham. Will he be happy otherwise? Maybe if they're winning. He just hasn't been with a team that's been winning for a while. So
if you look at what's out there and what the first round looks like, or at least the first 10 picks, you don't know if Tua is going to be if he's going to be picked that high. I mean, he should be talent-wise, but you don't know because of the injury. You have 4 offensive linemen who seem to be interchangeable. It almost seems like if you really want an offensive lineman, if you don't have a real favorite, it looks like you could almost let one fall in your lap. Although that's not a good draft strategy, except this particular draft, it looks like maybe it is. And then if all the linemen are picked, then you got the linebacker Simmons that you could take, and he seems to be a special guy. But then I'm saying, if he's that special and can play anywhere, why are they even thinking he'll be available at number 10?
Yeah, I mean, we all know from past experience that these quarterbacks end up there in the draft, and they push some really good players down past where they probably should be rated. So there's always a possibility that happens. I believe Tua will go in the first 5 picks, 6 picks, and then it's a matter of.
No, if he doesn't.
What's that?
If Tua doesn't go in the first 5, does do the Browns reach for the phone book and say, by the way, if anybody wants Tua, I got the 10th pick. You can play around with here. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if
or not?
I was curious to hear Andrew Berry talk about how he thinks the tackle is interchangeable right now because of the scheme they run. Whether it's right, if you could play a guy at left tackle, he could also play right tackle or whatever. I wonder if that was a smokescreen to keep people thinking that they're not zeroing in on a left tackle in the draft. But you just never know at this point with as much skullduggery or whatever you want to call it that goes on in the draft. Everybody tries to hide what they really think. But I would
go ahead.
No, I was going to say I would be surprised if they don't walk away with a tackle and a guy who can be their left tackle for the next 8 years.
My concern, and Andrew Berry, there's not enough stuff out there to get a book on him yet, but my concern is that instead of drafting for the team and the team's needs, some people, and I'm not saying the Browns have done that, although maybe they have in 1 or 2 regimes, some people may want to just get out there to get themselves listed as a guy who won the draft. If you make a deal just for the sake of making a deal, as opposed to making a pick that is laid out for you in advance. There's a question: do they want to get too fancy here?
Yeah, I would like to think that Barry has seen the consequences of trying to get too fancy here, and one of those consequences isn't necessarily going 1-31, but it's knowing that you're working now for an owner who hasn't shown any hesitation to change, regimes if he doesn't like what he sees. So it's a good thing, I think, that maybe this organization knows that it needs to come in and it can't be sitting here 3 years from now talking about a process. It doesn't mean they do everything possible to win this year, but I do think the clock starts on these guys as soon as the season does.
Yeah, Bud Shaw is with us. You can explore your interests, find a program at Tri-C that puts you on a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu to find out more information. We're going to come back in a moment with Bud Shaw, and we will talk more. Andrew Berry may be interested in a Cleveland guy for Cleveland. We'll take a break. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. they transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history, April 14th. And that was just last year. Tiger Woods wins his 5th Masters jacket, a titanic day in sports. Did you see what I did there, bud?
I did see that, Les.
Very well. Titanic day.
Yeah, very well played.
Yeah. I was supposed to be on the second crossing of the ocean.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I was late for the first one.
I know you're not that old, Les.
They made a movie about that. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I did know that.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. All right, I love this line here. There's an anonymous source out there that cites that Andrew Berry may be interested in Ezra Cleveland from Boise State. Who's this anonymous source? Any idea?
I don't know that one.
I'd like to be like an insider, an anonymous source, a person who can't speak because of on the record because of what he knows. Here's
one in the know.
Yeah, one in the know. Here's Ezra Cleveland, an offensive tackle from Boise State, and again with the new uniforms coming up, he could have the name on the front and the back of his uniform. 6'6", 311 pounds. Primarily started as a left tackle in his career. 2-time first team All Mountain West, and very impressive in the combine. Again, he would be the 5th lineman, at least in the predictions, for being picked here. But if you can trade down or up or whatever you need to do and maybe get an extra body here, I'd rather get one of the top 4 than the 5th best, because the top 4 seem a little more interchangeable.
Yeah, hey, we're always conditioned to think that this organization is going to trade down. It has certainly traded up a few times. I don't know if people will appreciate me mentioning Trent Richardson or not, but I wouldn't think so. But there's a possibility that if they really see that tackle they want, that they would move up this time. I don't know who they would give up to do that or how many picks they would have to give up, but I would. I mean, if you think this is the quarterback and you think there's a tackle there that's going to be your answer to Joe Thomas, within reason, right? I'm not predicting Hall of Fame. I'm just saying a guy that you can count on for 10 years. I wouldn't rule any of that out.
All right. I'd also like to be a draft insider, but that's another story for another day. Bill Barnwell of ESPN.com has an idea what's going to happen here. He says that the Raiders, and by the way, the Raiders may wind up in San Diego this year because they've got trouble with the stadium in Las Vegas. The Raiders would receive the Browns' 10th pick. The Browns would receive the 12th and the 81st, that in the 3rd round, and they would take and offensive guard Gabe Jackson. Jackson is 28 years old, 6 NFL seasons, all with the Raiders, 4 penalties and 5 sacks allowed in 707 snaps last season. He's been listed in trade rumors for the past month or so, and the money they'd just be under $28 million left on his contract. It's a name we haven't heard before, but people seem to be interested in this guy.
Well, not knowing, I haven't watched much of Raiders football. Is this a guy that they think could play tackle, but is that guard now?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're in trouble if they start thinking you can interchange all these guards and tackles right side and left side.
Hey, listen, we saw it with Cam Irving,
Yep.
A guy that got moved around by, 3 different positions within 2 years of being in the league. And, we were even questioning that as it was going on. And we were told, oh, versatility is so important. Well, sometimes young guys just need to come in and stay at a position. I mean, this is a tough league to learn on the fly. And we've seen how tough it can be for a quarterback. I'm not suggesting it's the same for an offensive lineman, but it certainly isn't easy.
You look at the year that he had. I mean, he was terrible. Let's face it, he was terrible when he was here. But he must have been pretty good last year. I mean, they win the whole thing. He must have either figured it out or Kansas City hit him somehow, some way.
Yeah, I hope what doesn't happen here is that they say, hey, we have Bill Callahan. He's one of the top offensive line coaches in the league. He can help these guys, move around and be versatile and play different positions. Sometimes, let's face it, the coaching is important, but it's not as important as the talent.
No, and you also have a situation where you're throwing guys in there, 4 or 5 guys together that have, they're just meeting somehow, some way. All of a sudden you expect them to mesh as a unit. And we've seen not just with the Browns, but throughout all of football, that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, right. Exactly right.
So we got some names thrown out there. Just without getting specific on names, we can think about positions here. Do you see them? You got a lot of choices. See them trading up, trading down. You see them signing another lineman. Do you see them draft whoever they want to draft, then see what's out there to buy as far as a free agent still is concerned after the draft? A lot of things can happen. You have any thoughts on which is going to happen here?
Well, I think Barnwell's suggestion is probably the second most likely scenario. I think they'll either stay at 10 and take the best offensive lineman that they think fits their scheme, or they'll move down if they don't see that guy there, but they like another guy that they think they can get 3 or 4 spots lower. I could see them doing that. The trade down thing, Les, is not the worst thing in the world. It's just that when the Browns have done it, they've exacerbated their decision or the negativity surrounding their decision by not drafting a good player when they did get a chance to pick. It's the Corey Coleman scenario, Now you not only look at the guys that they could have had, but then you look at the guy they ended up with, and within 3 years or whatever, he's not with them anymore, and it makes it a doubly bad draft. So if they happen to move down, if they happen to move down a few spots in this draft, I don't think it's the worst thing if they pick a guy that can start for them and still get somebody else.
It just doesn't seem, when you talk about trading up and trading down, it just doesn't fit right. But if you make the right pick, then you're at the genius level, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other arguments that we've had, or the other issues we've had about trading down is when they go to, a top 10 pick and they give up a chance for a Julio Jones and they keep trading back and back and back and walk away with a center or a guard. Those philosophically, you're passing up players have a chance to really change games.
And hopefully they know with the technology involved and something could go wrong, they don't want to decide on something and then not get the pick in, then you wind up losing a pick. I mean, come on now. Yeah. If anybody's going to have that happen to them, who would you guess?
I still contend one of the best, and I know Sashi Brown has its proponents, especially now.
Yeah.
After seeing that Dorsey didn't turn it around either. But I still think the best thing he did was kill that trade to Cincinnati for
the fax machine.
For the backup quarterback. Yeah, pretending that he just couldn't get it in there in time. That was classic.
That was classic. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw with us. Email us during the show, real-les-levine@gmail.com. Northeast Factory Direct, East, West, and South. They got 3 locations, but a great website, northeastfactorydirect.com. And the best price guarantee, it lasts for a year. Somebody will sell you something lower than Northeast Factory. They'll just refund the money immediately. That's Northeast Factory Direct. We'll come back in a moment. Sokolowski's University, and they, of course, are closed like most restaurants, but they deserve your support when they get back. Been doing it since 1923, and the winner of the James Beard Foundation Award. And hopefully we'll have some good news about that real soon. Let's take a break. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature Stone for up to half off and never replace your garage flooring again. Cracked, uneven garage floors are dangerous. Thin paints and poly coatings you can do yourself are slippery, peel, and don't correct problems. Why pay for a floor that won't last? Only a professionally installed Nature Stone garage floor is safe and corrects problems that paints can't. And Nature Stone comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. So there are no hidden maintenance costs. Schedule online today at naturestone.com to qualify for up to half off. Hurry, offer ends April 30th. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine sports history, April 14th, 1965. The picture doesn't go with the year, by the way. Les had a Sandlot coach, Rich, who gave him the hit away sign, then yelled bunt. Les called timeout, went down to talk to him, and Rich says, well, how are they going to know what we're going to do when we don't even know what we're going to do? Now, that's a coach, Bud.
Oh, yeah. You got to keep the opponent in the dark, Les.
Even if you go right along with them.
Yeah, exactly.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Let's go to Bill, who's in North Olmsted, whose son Adam is celebrating a birthday today. Hello, Bill.
Adam.
Years go by so fast. But, we're in that period where there's no spectator sports going on. I did a little reflecting. Been to Yankee Stadium, both old and new, Fenway, Wrigley, Chavez-Levine, Notre Dame football, the Boston Garden, Madison Square Garden. But I'd have to say by far my favorite venue was Augusta National. And I'd really be curious what both yours and Bud's favorite venue has been in all your years of following sports.
Bud, is Augusta right there?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is a little biased because I did get to play that course, but I felt the same way even prior to that. It's just a remarkable piece of property. With it's hard to explain how immaculately kept it is, and it's also hard to explain if unless you're a golfer who has walked the grounds, how undulating those fairways are, and even the greens too. So it might look like a fairly flat piece of property at times, and it's not. It's a stunning piece of property, and if I could do one more thing again, it would be to go back and play another round there.
How many strokes do you think that caddy saved you? Because you're really a good putter when you know where you're going. How did he save you? 6 strokes? 8?
Yeah, I would say at least that. Even just chipping onto greens, there was such undulation in the green itself that you had to land the ball sometimes 30 feet left of where you might normally have chipped. And him knowing that really saved me a lot. I played there with a group, and one guy was from Germany. And they gave us the choice between paying for a caddy or taking a cart, believe it or not. And for whatever reason, he chose cart, and he picked the ball up so many times on holes that I think he probably, if he had kept his score, he would have shot over 150.
Well, the thing I remember, Bud, about going down there is the surrounding area is not that great, but you pull into Magnolia Drive, and I remember walking on Amen Corner and that area. You feel like hollow ground. It's just so different than anything else you experience.
Bill, I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to go with Fenway and Wrigley. As far as I'm concerned, I was not disappointed. I've been to a couple games in each place, and it fails to disappoint me.
Well, it's like actually one of my favorite stadiums that's no longer in existence was Forbes Field, but both Fenway and Wrigley and Forbes were all in like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
You're kind of walking along, all of a sudden here's a ball diamond, which you don't see anymore. Everything is very different these days.
Well, no, that's why the American League at least has had curfews on games because all of the stadiums were in the area where the residential areas, and they wanted to keep the noise down at a certain point. But that doesn't affect them anymore because I don't think there's any. Can either of you think of any place that's in a residential area?
Wow.
Other than I guess if you wanted to say Wrigleyville, but that's more of a.
Wrigley is.
Yeah,
sure
Wrigleyville.
Yeah, but which comes
be
first, the chicken or the egg on that? Did the residential area come to Wrigley, or did Wrigley go to them?
Yeah, I don't know. I lived there for 6 months in the late '80s, and I just got such a rush out of going out for jogs and running past Wrigley Field and running around those streets there. It's just a really cool setup. And one of the underrated ones, and it never makes any list, I think, because of the area that it's in, is Old Tiger Stadium.
Right.
I really like Old Tiger Stadium too.
Yeah.
But clearly in a tough area of town.
They had the upper deck kind of coming over the lower deck, so you could hit a high fly ball to right field, and it could get caught up in the seats up there, when in fact it could have been just a routine fly ball to deep right.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Wes. In 1962, when the Dodgers moved in their new stadium, did you get royalties from Chavez-Levine?
I should have. The only problem with it, we talk about Chavez-Levine as a great place to play wiffle ball, but if you go over the Les Levine sports history, you'll find out there's a whole bunch of things that happened before the other guys came in '62. So I named it long before they ever thought about it.
Well, you should get royalties.
Yeah,
I just thought of one more kind of a localized ballpark, although it's down in Florida for spring training, is Bradenton, where the Pirates.
Yeah, the Pirates.
I think they're still there.
All right, so let me ask you this, both of you guys: any places out there that disappointed you, that you thought of or you heard was a great place, or you whatever, and you got there and said, "What a dump this is"?
Well, I did not like the Astrodome. I felt like I was in a movie theater, and it just didn't seem like baseball.
Changed the game.
I've been at other dome stadiums, but the first visit to the Astrodome for me was a little bit disappointing.
Bud, how about you? Anything disappoint?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great call there, Bill. I felt the same way about it. We always heard that eighth wonder of the world thing, and I just remember going there, and both for football and baseball, and I was there for I believe the Mike Scott game was in Houston, right? In the World Series. Yeah, so or the National League playoffs. I'm sorry, yeah, and I was there for that. The place that I really liked was going. I liked covering baseball in St. Louis. Being at that St. Louis Kansas City World Series was just really cool. Not only because you could drive I-70 back and forth, but just the two baseball towns, especially St. Louis, were so rabid. It was really a fun series.
Well, I'm a huge Cardinals fan, and Odell-Beckham-jr really ruined that series for me because we should have won it.
Yeah. All right, Bill, thanks so much for the call. I appreciate it very much. All right, this is our Facebook question of the day, Bud. With the 10th pick in the NFL Draft 2020, the Cleveland Browns select the pregnant.
Oh, you're waiting for my answer?
Yeah, why not?
Isaiah-Simmons.
Oh, I'd like that. I would hope that would happen. Aaron Wood says a linebacker who is athletic and can help lead the Browns defense along with Mack Wilson. Glenn Berger says the best available offensive tackle who then can play left tackle for the Browns. Brandon Buckley says Andrew Thomas from Georgia. That's our Facebook question of the day. Don't forget, coming up a week from Thursday, it's the More Sports and Les-Levine special edition. It's the draft special. Dave Bacon will join me. We'll go over the whole draft starting at 8 o'clock. We believe the first pick will be at 8:15. And that's right here on cleveland.com. You can join me, Dave Bacon, and the cleveland.com staff, and we'll break down the NFL draft. You can also call us if you can't get us during the show. The show is aired from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, but you can call anytime at that number, 216-200-6650. Leave a message, and the best messages we'll get on a future show. We're coming back in a moment. I'm going to assume, Bud, that we have some How Come Quickies and more. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
You love it, always wanted it, and there's never been a better time to get Nature Stone than during our Spring Weather Breaker sale. We're breaking spring sales records with up to half off beautiful Nature Stone garage floors, patios, porches, and more. Correct cracked, uneven concrete that thin paints and poly coatings can't. Every Weather Breaker savings comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, and there are no hidden maintenance costs. Schedule online today at naturestone.com to qualify for up to half off. Hurry, offer ends April 30th. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, will join us. Thursday, we haven't had Terry Pluto in a while, but we will have him Thursday night. You see us live from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can find us any time during the day. That'll be, of course, at cleveland.com. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. But I'm looking ahead at these How Come Quickies. And if you will take the same blame as I will take for John Patrick's tonight, I'll use it. If not, if you don't want to take half the blame, you let me know now.
I've got my marker ready.
Okay, let's go here. Big Ed, how come when I asked my great-grandpa why he never pursued his songwriting career, my dad told me the only song he wrote was Good Luck Titanic? That's a little long for a quickie.
Yeah, it's a little long. I don't mind the punchline. It's okay, but the length of it. If the captain of the Titanic had seen the iceberg coming the way I saw that one coming,
it would have never had a movie.
It would have been safe. So 4.0.
Yeah.
And I
wrote the song "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Shoulders." I just missed on that one.
I always downgrade the first one. It's just the luck of the draw.
Well, Ed comes back. Ed comes back.
I need to leave. Okay.
Right. Ed doesn't come back with a vengeance, but he does come back. He says, how come the doctor's office said all their records are now electronic? Now just fill out these 12 forms.
I'm not going to say I like that one. I just don't mind it.
You just don't mind. The one I like is you go to a doctor's office and there's a sign in front of the window and says, because of HIPAA regulations, you got to stand behind this. And then you get in and say, Mr. Levine, your test results are in now. They're negative or positive. What kind of HIPAA laws are those? Wow. Okay. Bob from Akron. How come the sprinter walked to the track meet when he was running late? Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't love it, but I like it.
This is from Larry. All right, so what are you giving him?
8.0.
8.0, so a leader in the clubhouse so far. This is from Larry in Dunedin, Florida. Keep up the good work, Les. Love your show from Dunedin. Thank you very much. How come when I dropped my toothpaste, I was crestfallen?
Yeah, it's kind of punny, but it's I didn't necessarily see it coming.
And it was short. It was quick.
I'm going to give it an 8.2.
Oh, there's a new leader in the clubhouse. All right, here's John Patrick's, and I should have shown this to you so you can either get in on it or say, Les, don't lose, don't do it.
This isn't going to be like an FCC violation, is it?
No.
Okay.
All right, hold on. The quickies expressed on More Sports and Les-Levine are not necessarily those of Les-Levine or Bud Shaw or anybody else. How's that? Does that cover it?
I feel like I'm covered now. Go ahead.
I think I am too. How come I used to date a twin? The only way I could tell them apart was Mary used nail polish and Mike had a beard. See, the assumption is if they're twins, they're the same sex. And that's where the humor of it comes in.
Yeah. It's still, yes.
Hold on.
But
it's a 7.0.
It makes you think, but it makes you think too much.
Yeah, and I think just for the record, you know how you leave room on the first one? I'm going to go back on what I said. You and I have no involvement in that one. That stuck through. That stuck through the censors, and we're not going to let that happen again.
He usually has more than one, so he has a chance to redeem himself.
No, and Mr. Gullible's not here tonight.
Huh?
He had a good one the other night. I don't know if you were here when he had it. That a piece of salad fell off his piece of lettuce fell off his salad, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. Now that's keeping in, time-wise with the Titanic and all that.
Okay, so as a group, I'm going to give it a 7.0 tonight.
That's fair.
It was okay.
You know when there are tragedies and
I can see it's scoring a 70 in a test.
Right. Sometimes when there's a tragedy and people say it's too soon to make fun. Is the Titanic okay now?
I think that the time when it was too soon passed. I think 100 years later. So
100 years is okay. That's
yeah. So I think it's been okay for a little while.
Still people still alive from the Titanic 108 years ago.
Still too soon though to make too much fun of some Browns drafts that ended the same way the Titanic did.
You should have 100 years between times you can make fun of a Browns #1 pick.
Can I tell you something that happened to me today?
Yeah.
I heard your opening comment. I heard your opening comment on the uniforms, and I didn't have much to add to it because I'm a Philly guy. I didn't grow up here with the uniforms. That they could change the colors, change the helmet. They could do anything they want. I'd be fine with it. So today I went to Costco, one of the rare times I've been out since I got home.
Did you run into Patrick Pearson?
I did not see Patrick there, but I went in there last and I had my mask on and I came out and all the sizes in Costco are big, right? So you have them in your shopping cart and it kind of looks like you're planning for the end of the world. Everything is piled up high. It's supersized. It looks like you're going to go and put everything in your bomb shelter. And I walked out of there, and all of a sudden I heard a guy go, "How do you think you're going to like the uniforms?" And I just looked at him. I was like, the world is coming to an end, and you want me to tell you whether I think the uniforms are going to be okay? I said, really? Well, I don't know. It's not really at top of my list right now. So he goes, "Oh, okay."
That was it? I'll tell you my biggest concern. I'm on cleveland.com every day. I need a haircut. What the hell? Somebody give me an idea. What do I do here?
Well, I'm about a month and a half away from a mullet, or a ponytail. I've always said I'd never be the bald guy with a ponytail. Not so sure anymore.
When Terry Pluto's going to be here on Thursday. When I first met him,
Speaking of bald guys,
but he had a ponytail at the time.
Well, he may have one again. You haven't seen him in a while, right?
No, I haven't. You're right.
I'll tune in now to watch that.
Yeah,
That's going to be Thursday.
Thursday, just to see if Terry has a mullet or a ponytail. All right, that'll do it for us. As always, thank you, bud. Appreciate it very much. You're the best.
Great to be with you, Les.
All right, good to have you. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow night. The D-Man, Dennis Manilow, Terry Pluto on Thursday. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.